12x. So we can put them together. 3x and 12x is 15x. And we've got a minus 7 and a plus 12. One's minus, one's plus. 12 minus 7 is 5 plus 5. There we go. Is that there? I thought it was that one, but oh, nope. There's the first one, isn't it? A. Okay. Number 3. This one's a little hard to see it. So I'm going to put it like that. I'm going to go out a little bit so you can start reading while I go out. Okay, now we've got it so you can read the whole thing. I'm going to have to zoom in again afterwards. Okay, Aisha has $100 saved from her job. She wants to buy as many charms for her bracelet at $4 each and earrings at $5 per set as she can without spending all her money. So she can't spend 100. She can spend 99, but not 100. The inequality represents her spending, where X is the number of charms and Y is the sets of earrings. So how did they get this? Well, X is the number of charms. And how much is a charm? At $4 each. She wants to buy as many charms for her bracelet. $4. So 4 times X, that'll tell you how much she spends on charms. And $5 times how many earrings she buys. So that'll give you how much money she spends. And it's got to be less than 100. She has 100, so it could be 99, but it can't be 100. Which ordered pair represents a combination of charms and earrings Aisha can buy? So which one? Remember, X tells you how many charms. Y tells you how many earrings. All you have to do is plug these in and see if they're less than 100. Remember, if they're equal to 100, it doesn't work. They have to be less than 100. So, for example, this one's 16 charms. 16 times 4. You want $4 times 16 charms plus $5 times 8 charms. Well, 4 times 16 is 64. If you put that in the calculator, 5 times 8 is 40. 40 plus 64 is 104. Does not work. Now, this is interesting. We should have known this one wouldn't work because this is the same except it has one less charm. So if that one had worked, then this one definitely works because it has the same things except one less charm. So we really should have checked this one first. Okay, how about 4 times 15? 4 times 15 is 60. Again, 8, that's 40. 60 and 40, that's exactly 100. We don't want 100. 100's too big. It's got to be less than 100. 9 and 13. So 9 times 4 plus 5 times 13. So that's 36. And this is what? 65. And if you add them, 101. You should have been doing all these by yourself. In fact, even now you should stop and find which one's right if you haven't done it. Okay, 6 times 4, 24. 5 times 15, 75. 24 plus 75 equals 99. Boop, 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 boop. D works. Oh, I forgot to see how much time I spent on the other film. I don't know what I'm doing. How much time I've used up. Okay. On to number 4. That's a big one too, so I'll leave it like this. Okay. Which of the following graphs, you should have stopped it and tried it already. Which of the following graphs represents the relationship between X and Y if Y always increases as X increases? So as X increases, Y has to go up all the time. So here's X getting bigger and bigger. And what's happening to Y? Y is also getting bigger. Look at X now. Y's here. Look at X now. Y's there. As X gets bigger, Y grows up too. So that's a good one. This is good. How about this? Look at X. When it starts out, Y is big. But as x goes, y slowly comes down until y is small. So this one's no good. Y has to increase as x increases. Now this one starts out there the same. As x went up, y did not move. It did not increase, it did not decrease. Then when it got here, as x went up, y went up. Y increased as x increased. They're both increasing. But in the beginning, y was not increasing. And it says y is always increases. So this one's no good. No good. How about this one? Here they are. They're both small. As x increases, y goes up. As x increases, y goes up. As x increases here, y really goes up even faster. But it's always increasing. Even though it's increasing faster here, it's always going up. So this is a good one. So we want 1 and 4. Only 1 and 4. A is the only one. Only 1 and 4. 1 and 4 only. Okay? Number 5. Again, pause it. Try it on your own. Okay, a restaurant is at 75% capacity with 120 patrons. So 75%. Remember, percent is the same as 75 hundredths. And the 120 is not how much it's going to hold. The 120 is how much is the 75. So that's going to go on the top. What we want to find is how much does it hold when it's 100% capacity? How many people are in the restaurant? That's what we don't know. So 75% of this number is 120. 120 is 75% of that number. We don't want 75% of 120. We want 75% of some number. So I set it up like this. You could set it up like this. 75% of x equals 120. Remember, we don't do percent. We change it to a decimal. We change it to 0.75. Because 75% is really 75 hundredths, which can be written as 0.75. You move the decimal point 2 places. Of means times, but not times 120, times x equals 120. Now, how are we going to get x? We divide by 0.75. If we divide by 0.75, we're multiplying and we're dividing, it becomes 1. It cancels. But we have 0.75 here. 120 divided by 0.75. What's 120 divided by 0.75? If you put it in your calculator, you get 160. Does that make sense? Well, if you take 75% of 160, it's 3/4 of 160. It's going to be 120. Because 1/4 of 160 is 40. And you want 3/4. 3 of those makes 120. So that works. What did we get? 160. Does that make sense? A restaurant is at 75% capacity with 120 patrons. Yeah, it's almost filled up. It's at 75. 160 makes sense. These answers, these are too small because 90 is smaller than it already has. 120 is the same as what it has. So you know it's got to be one of these. This one is the correct one. It's 1/4 bigger because you have 75%. Okay, number 6. Several students are going to ride their bikes from the city park to Lake Concha, a distance of 25 miles. They will ride at an average rate of 10 miles per hour. What is the latest time they can leave the park in order to arrive at the lake by 11 a.m.? Okay, how far do they want to go? 25 miles. And every hour they're going 10 miles per hour. That means they're going 10 miles every hour. If you divide 25 by 10, that'll tell you how many hours it's going to take. If you put this in your calculator, it would give you 2.5, which is the same as what? 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is 2.5 hours. Now you left at 11. What's going to be 2.5 hours? I'm sorry. What is the latest time they can leave the park in order to arrive at the lake at 11? They want to get there by 11, and it takes them 2.5 hours. Well, if you go backwards 2 hours, if you take away 2, what do you get? 9 o'clock. But that if they left at 9, they're going to get there at 11:30. So you got to leave 30 minutes earlier than that, a half an hour early. What's a half an hour earlier than 9? 8:30. If they leave at 8:30 and it takes 2.5 hours, it'll be 10:30 and a half hour, 11. That's what we want, 8:30. There it is. Did you get that one? Okay, number 7. How can we fit this in here? Number 7. Okay. Let me see how well you can see this. I want to make sure you guys can see these good. Yeah, you can read them fine. Okay. Here we go. Ms. Lund placed a 7-foot ladder against the wall with the base of the ladder 4 feet away from the wall. So what does that mean? So you got a wall. And you put a ladder. You know how you put a ladder like you lean it up against the wall? With the base of the ladder 4 feet away. So we know that the base is 4 feet away. And it's a 7-foot ladder. So that means this is 7. Not this. The ladder is 7. Right? She decided that a different 10-foot ladder needed to be used. If she wants the longer ladder to rest against the wall at the same angle as the shorter ladder, about how far away from the wall should she place the base? Wow! So she wants to put a ladder over here. And this ladder is going to be 10. How far away from the wall should it be? Well, if it's going to be just like the same angle as this one, then 7 is to 4, the same as 10 is to their distance from the base, this distance, x. They have the same ratio. That would make it the same angle if you put it at the same ratio. So 7 is to 4 as 10 is to x. These are called ratios, okay? Now, how do we solve this? 7 is to 4 is 10 is to x. You just cross multiply. Or you can think of it this way. We want the x on top, so we multiply by x. We want the 4 on top, so we multiply by 4. So you see, you're in a way, you're cross-multiplying. Because when you multiply by 4, it disappears over here, but you'll have a 4 on this side. When you multiply by x, the x's will cancel over here, but you'll have an x multiplied on this side. See how they cross-multiplied? 7 times x, 4 times 10. Okay, so you have 7x. I put the 7 first. You don't have to have the x first. Is equal to 10 times 4. That's 40, right? I'll leave it like this. Right? How do we get the x? You divide by 7. That'll give you 1x. Divide by 7, but that means you divide the other side by 7. So now you have 10 times 4 divided by 7. That's equal to 40 over 7. Okay? Did you use your calculator to figure that out? Well, it doesn't quite go 6 times. It goes 5 times 35 with 5 left over, 5.7, because 7 times 7 is 49, and you want 7 into 50. But you could use your calculator. I'm just doing short division, it's called. 5.7. There it is. If you put it 5.7 feet, you'll have the same angle. 7 is to 4 as 10 is to 5.7. Okay? I don't know if we ran out of time. We must be close to running out of time, but we're almost a third of the way. So let's do one more. Okay, here we go. This is a big one, so I don't know if I can fit it all in. I'll tell you what, I'll show you the graphs first. Okay, here, wait, let me do this. Read this part up here first. Okay, so this is about a country W. They didn't give you the name. And this is the imports, and this is the exports. Imports are things that they buy that come into the country. So you buy stuff from other countries and you import it into your country. So this is about the imports that country W gets from country X, country Y, and country Z. The bottom says exports. That's how much stuff country W sells to the other countries. It sells the most to country X. This is the exports that's selling. Now, what is the question? Okay, let me turn to the question now. So read the question. And then since it's about the imports, you want to see that top chart again. Okay, here I go. Make sure you read the question good. Got it? Here goes the top chart again. This one's a little hard for me to show you all at once. We need the imports one, not the exports. They gave us this, but we don't even need it. Okay, so you can pause and do it. Here, I'm going to look at it now. What percent of country W's total imports was from country X? So we're going to look at the imports, not the exports. We want the percent of the total are from country X. So we need two things. We now have to know how much imports were for country X. That's easy. How many imports were from country X? 40. I'll write that over. I don't want to write over that. I'll write that right here. 40, right? Now, it says what percent of the total? So the totals, you have to figure out all of these. 40 plus 80. What's 40 and 80? Like 4 and 8. 120. And how about Z? 40 more. Just like X, 40 more. So you had 120 and 40 more. 160. So you put that on the bottom. That's the total. So here's the part we're interested in. X's imports. Here's the total, 160. So we want that fraction to tell us what percent it is. So if you put this in your calculator, what do you know what you're going to get? 4 over 16. That's a quarter, isn't it? So you're going to get, if you put in your calculator, you're going to get 0.25. But the question is what percent? 0.25 is just the decimal. To get percent now, you have to multiply by 100. How many hundredths? You multiply by 100, you move the decimal point 2 places. That's equal to 25%. 1 quarter is 0.25 is 25%. Okay? Is that down there as an answer? Yes, it is B. Okay, we're going to pick it up on this one when we come back, when I start on the B video for this test. And this one, don't kill yourself on it because basically you can't do it without a special formula. There is a way to check which answer works, but it's kind of hard math, and we're not going to get into that. They should have given you the formula. This is not the kind of formulas people have memorized. Anyway, when we come back, we'll do that. So that's it. Go on to HiSET Math Practice Test B will be the next one.